Across the screens, Part 7. Rohan's life had taken a new direction after he got married. He had found a good woman who loved him, and they were building a life together. But despite the happiness he was trying to embrace, the shadow of his past still lingered in the back of his mind. Whenever he thought of Lina, guilt would creep in, reminding him of the lies and deception that had driven her away. Rohan often wondered if he should confess the truth to Alex, to come clear about the role he and Sophie had played in Lina's disappearance from Alex's life. But with Lina nowhere to be found, it felt pointless. She had vanished without a trace, and he couldn't imagine how bringing up the past would help anyone now. Still, the weight of his actions bore down on him, and the guilt was something he could never fully escape. Unable to bear it any longer, Rohan decided to contact Sophie. He needed to unburden himself, to let her know that he wasn't with Lina and that she had disappeared. When Sophie received his message, she was furious. She had spent years ensuring that the truth remained buried, and the last thing she wanted was Rohan stirring up the past. Despite her anger, Sophie listened to everything Rohan had to say. She was relieved that Lina was still missing, but the possibility of the truth coming out made her anxious. She convinced Rohan that the best course of action was to leave the past where it belonged, buried and forgotten. She warned him not to contact her again, promising that if they kept the secret, everyone's lives would remain intact. But Sophie couldn't shake the fear that somehow, someday, Alex might discover the truth. The thought haunted her, making her even more determined to secure her place in Alex's life. She knew that the best way to do that was to finally get married, to make their relationship permanent. Sophie decided to push harder, using the years she had spent by Alex's side as leverage. She confronted Alex, reminding him of how long she had waited, how much she had sacrificed for him. She told him that it was time for them to get married, that she deserved happiness too. Sophie framed it as if she had been selfless for too long, and now it was time for Alex to give her what she wanted. Alex, taken aback by her sudden intensity, asked for a few weeks to think it over. As he withdrew into his thoughts, he found himself reflecting on everything that had led him to this point. He remembered the love he had once had for Lina, the dreams they had shared. But that love had been tainted by betrayal, or so he believed. Sophie had been there for him through it all, supporting him, loving him, never wavering. What's the use of waiting any longer? Alex thought. Lina, my true love, betrayed me. It's time to move forward with the one who has stood by me, who loves me more than I love myself. Alex realized that it was time to close the chapter on Lina once and for all. He couldn't keep holding on to a love that had hurt him so deeply. Sophie had proven her loyalty and devotion to him time and time again, and he knew that she genuinely cared for him. If anyone deserved his commitment, it was her. With his mind made up, Alex decided that he would marry Sophie. He would leave the past behind and focus on building a future with the woman who had been by his side through everything. It wasn't the love story he had once dreamed of, but it was the one he had now, and he was determined to make the best of it. As he prepared to give Sophie his decision, Alex felt a sense of finality wash over him. He was ready to move on, to start this new chapter with Sophie. But deep down, a small part of him couldn't help but wonder what might have been if the past had played out differently, if the truth had been known. Lina had settled into a peaceful life in the small village, but as her daughter grew older, the questions began. "Where's my father?" the little girl would ask, her innocent eyes searching Lina's face for answers. Lina had always managed to cover it up with stories, but she knew that she couldn't keep the truth hidden forever. The time was approaching when her daughter would need to know more about her past. One day, Lina's close friend, who had become like family to her, suggested they take a vacation. "You and your daughter need a break," he said. "A chance to get away from work and the routine. Let's go somewhere far, where you can relax and she can explore." He even offered to join them, knowing that it would make the trip easier. Lina hesitated at first. It had been years since she had left the village, and the idea of traveling again brought back memories she had worked so hard to forget. But her daughter was almost 6 years old now, and Lina realized that it was time for her to see the world, to experience life beyond the village. It wasn't fair to keep her sheltered forever. After much thought, Lina agreed, and they decided on a month-long vacation to Vietnam. For the first time since starting her new life, Lina was leaving the village. The decision was both daunting and exciting. She knew that exposing her daughter to new places and experiences was the right thing to do. Meanwhile, across the world, Sophie was deep into the preparations for her wedding to Alex. Their relationship had withstood the test of time, and now they were finally ready to tie the knot. Sophie was thrilled and threw herself into the wedding planning with all her energy, determined to make it perfect. Alex, however, was preoccupied with his business. He had several important deals to close before the wedding and was scheduled to travel to Indonesia, Vietnam, and Australia for meetings. Sophie, though slightly disappointed that he wouldn't be around to help with the preparations, understood. She wished him luck and assured him that she had everything under control. As the day of departure approached, Lina felt a mix of emotions. This trip marked a new chapter in her life, one where she would have to start opening the world to her daughter. She hoped that this vacation would bring them both joy and a sense of freedom that had been missing for so long. With bags packed and hearts full of anticipation, Lina, her friend, and her daughter boarded the plane to Vietnam. At the same time, Alex was on his own flight, heading toward the same destination. Neither of them had any idea that their paths, which had once been so intertwined and then torn apart, were about to cross again. Vietnam is a place of vibrant culture, stunning landscapes, and bustling cities. For Lina, it was a chance to escape the confines of her past and create new memories with her daughter. For Alex, it was another step in his business journey, one that he hoped would set the stage for a prosperous future. As they both landed in Vietnam, the country became the backdrop for a series of events neither of them could have anticipated. Lina, excited for the adventures ahead, and Alex, focused on his business, were unknowingly drawn into each other's orbit once again, their lives on a collision course with the potential to unravel everything they had worked so hard to build. Lina was enjoying every moment of her vacation in Vietnam. The country's vibrant streets, rich culture, and delicious food made her feel like she had made the right decision to step out of her comfort zone. Her daughter was thrilled with the new experiences, her eyes wide with wonder as they explored different places. Lina's friend, who had been their constant companion, had taken the day off to rest, leaving Lina and her daughter to venture out on their own. That morning, they spent hours visiting local attractions, soaking in the beauty and history of Vietnam. By midday, both were hungry and decided to stop by a mall to grab something to eat and maybe do some shopping. The mall they chose was bustling with activity, and as they walked in, Lina couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment. This trip was turning out to be exactly what she and her daughter needed. Unbeknownst to Lina, the same mall was also hosting a major business conference, one of the biggest events in the region, and Alex was the keynote speaker. He had just arrived in Vietnam after successfully concluding his business deals in Australia and was preparing for his speech. Alex had become a well-known figure in the business world, and his presence at the conference was highly anticipated. The day before, Lina had briefly seen Alex's name on TV while she was in her hotel room. A news segment had mentioned the conference and highlighted Alex as the main speaker, but Lina had dismissed it, thinking it was just someone else with the same name. After all, what were the chances that the Alex she knew, her Alex, could be in Vietnam at the same time as her? She quickly brushed it off and continued with her day. As Lina and her daughter entered the mall, they headed straight for the food court. The mall was crowded, with people coming and going, many of whom were there for the conference. Lina found a quiet corner where they could sit down and enjoy their meal. As they were eating, Lina's daughter asked to visit a nearby toy store. Smiling, Lina agreed, and after finishing their food, they headed toward the store. Just as they were about to enter the toy store, a group of conference attendees exited a nearby elevator, heading toward the conference hall. Among them was Alex, deep in conversation with a colleague, completely unaware of how close he was to the woman who had once meant everything to him. Lina, holding her daughter's hand, felt a strange sensation as they walked. It was as if time slowed down for a moment. She looked around, her instincts suddenly on high alert, but she saw nothing out of the ordinary. Shaking off the feeling, she continued into the store, while Alex passed by just a few feet away, oblivious to the near encounter. Inside the store, Lena's daughter eagerly picked out a few toys, and Lina indulged her, happy to see her little girl so excited. They spent some time browsing, and then Lina decided to pick up a few things for herself. As they approached the cashier to pay, the mall's PA system announced that the conference was about to begin, with a special mention of the keynote speaker, Alex's name echoing through the halls. This time, the mention of the name struck a chord with Lina. Her heart skipped a beat, and she felt a chill run down her spine. Could it really be him? She looked at her daughter, who was blissfully unaware, and then back at the cashier, her mind racing. But before she could dwell on it, her daughter tugged at her hand, eager to leave and explore more of the mall. Lina quickly paid and left the store, her thoughts a whirlwind of confusion and disbelief. As they walked back through the mall, she couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to happen, but she pushed it aside, focusing on the joy of spending time with her daughter. Lina knows fate was setting the stage for a reunion that would bring the past crash into the present, forcing her to confront everything she had tried so hard to leave behind. And as Alex prepared to give his speech, unaware of how close he was to Lina, their lives were once again on the brink of a dramatic encounter. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe to hear the next part of the story.